Welcome to Tech Brother with Ahmed. Today we are going to learn how to load files according to the names to the SQL Server table. So what we have here, we have different files with the names, and one of the file is called customer file, and then other one are also the customer file underscore date time. The next one is employee information file, and they are sitting in the same folder. What our goal is load these files according to their name. So we have two names here, customer file and employee information, and we want to load them to the two tables, customer table and employee table. Okay, so if you have more file, like let's say you have hundreds of file and you have hundreds of table, I mean this approach is not going to work for you. But if you have let's say 5 or 10 or 15 and you want to create your SSIS package to handle that, this is the way to go. But if you have a large number of files, and then you might want to come back and check one of my posts on sqla.blogspot.com to how to do it by using the script task. Okay, so, but I will go ahead and create another video for that part as well. So let's start with this one for now. So I have two tables according to the names of the files, so that's what I want to load. Let's go and create a SSIS package. So I have already opened my project, so right click on the SSIS package, rename the package, and we can call it load files according to the names. All right, you can give any good name, but this is just came in my mind right now, so I'm going to give this one. So the very first thing is we are going to read the files from the folder. So to read the files from the folder, we have to have use for each loop container. We don't know how many files are going to be there tomorrow. Maybe there will be 20 files with the customer table, customer file name, and there would be another 5 or 10 for the employee. So we have to loop through each of them and load them. So let's loop through this folder. So to loop through, we have to have a folder path. We can hard code inside the SSIS package, but that I do not recommend. So I'm going to use a variable. I'm going to create a new variable and call it folder path. Okay, this is going to be string type. All right. Okay, so the next part is select the enumerator. So we have file for each file enumerator. So the next part is, instead of providing the path here, folder path here, we need to go to expressions and go for directory and put the expressions, and the folder path variable will be used to get the value. Okay, so if we go back to our folder, we have only .txt file. Let's say tomorrow somebody put CSV or Excel or any file, we do not want to read them. We want to read only .txt files. Okay, and let's go back and just for this package change this one to .txt. So read all the files that has extension txt and read the file name and extension. Okay, that's what we are going to read. Okay, so we are going to save the file name with extension in this variable. So we call it file name. Okay, now we are reading the files on each of the iteration, and what we need to do, we need to load those files. Okay, to load those files, we know that we have to use data flow task. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to bring a data flow task here. Okay, and as we are going to load two files, so I'm going to bring two data flow tasks. Okay, so I'm going to name this one customer, dft customer, and I'm going to name this one dft employee. Okay, so when we the for each loop is going to loop through, it is going to read the file, but how we are supposed to know this data flow task should run or this data flow task should run? That's where we are going to use some expressions and precedence constraints, and move or redirect the flow to the correct data flow task according to the name of the file. So I'm going to bring another task here, and that will be called script task. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect this one here and connect this one here. So what I want to do here, when for each loop will read the file name, I just want to read the file name and then write some expressions here, and if those are let's say equal to the customer file, I want to move this one to the customer side. If the file name is read is the employee information, then I want to move the flow on this side. All right, so if we go back and read take the file name, the complete file name for employee or the customer name. So what it has the date, time, and .txt added to it. Okay, so what we can do, we have to remove that part, date and time, and just read customer file, and or employee information part of that, and then compare it. Well, what is happening here? Okay, what is happening? The customer file that has a like 12 characters, and this one employee information has more characters. So we cannot really use a substring. So what I have done, I have written a SQL statement to find out what I need to do. Okay, so what I did here, I took this information, okay, and then I reversed it. Once I reversed it, and then after reversing it, I took let me work on this one and show you real quick like how I did it. So and I also recommend you to go through this one, by when you're writing expressions and all that, you might want to use a SQL and write it here and test it and then go and write your expressions. Okay, so I took this one, I reversed it. So now what I can do, I can use substring to remove the first character that has .txt and date time to it. So I can start at 25th, so I can count them, and then I can start it, after the time part or date part, and that's the 25th. And then I want to go and read all the way length of this string. Okay, so I have provided this path here. I don't want to just say read 5 characters, 10 characters, because the file name tomorrow this can be long, and especially for the customer and employee, they are different information. So I want to take the length, whatever is remaining. So if I run this one, now it left with the file name only. So what I want to do, if I will reverse it again, it is going to bring me only the file name, and the date and time part is gone. So what is happening here, I'm using substring, reverse functions to get, and length functions to get the file name part of the from the file. You can use any other functions, different people have different ways to do the things, so doesn't really matter as long as it's work for you. Okay, so what we need to do now here, we need to go on expressions, Precedence Constraint editor, sorry. We have to click on green line between the script task and data flow task. The script task, the role of the script task in right here is nothing but just to have control the flow. Okay, so I'm gonna double click here and then expressions and constraints. So I'm going to write expressions and I'm going to constraint like when it is successful. So it is going to be successful always because script task, we haven't put anything. So hit this tab and then it is going to bring you here. So what we need to do, we need to use the same expressions, what we have written. So what I did, I also prepared this expression. That's the same thing, reverse, substring, reverse, but instead of putting the entire with the single quotes the file name, I have put it with double quotes. So what I'm doing here, So I'm reversing it, this part, and then I'm taking the starting point from 25th character and going all the way to length of that string, and then I'm comparing with the employee information. Okay, but right now we are writing for customer file, right? So if I will write and we do not need to provide this values here, it was just for test purpose. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use the file name. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and it's going to be evaluated correctly, file name, and now we are comparing with the customer file. Okay, yep, customer file. All right, if I will evaluate it, it is incorrect. So let's take this one and run one time, right? Yeah, because see what is happening here right now, there is no file name in this variable saved, so that's why it's again saying false. All right, that's fine, so we can live with it. And if we want to test it more, what we can do, hit OK, take the file name from one of the folder what you have here, and then just provide in the variable so we can test this value. That's a good idea actually. So you click on variables, go to file name, provide the file name here. So now if we go here and then try to evaluate them, it's coming true. So if the file name will be coming with the date time, and this is going to be true. So let's test for the second part. We can use the same expressions, but just we have to compare with employee information file name. Okay, let's go here and now double click here, sorry, and then constraint and expressions, and click here and put it here. Okay, and then we are comparing with employee information, so I'm going to copy that one. If you are expecting your file names will be coming in upper and smaller cases, I recommend you to make upper on both sides, and that will be comparison will be always correct. Okay, so evaluated right now is coming false because the file name is customer in the variable right now. If we want to go back and change it and then retest our expressions, we can come back. So I'm going to take this file name, okay, and come back here and now change the value of the variable to test this part. Okay, so now what we see, expression is evaluated successfully, and if I will go here and it is saying it is a true, because now it is reading the file name from a variable and that part is equal to the employee information. Okay, so what is going to happen right now, if I run the package, it's not going to load any file or anything. It's going to just on each of the iteration it is going to move to customer data flow or the employee data flow. Let's run it just for testing purpose, and then we will build it. Okay, so everything looks good, and the next part is we need to bring the sources and destinations and put inside the data flow task. Let's go in the customer data flow task, go to sources, and we go to the flat file source here. Okay, and make a connection to the customer file. You can select any of them right now because these will be the connection string will be overwritten with the file name on of each of the iteration of for each loop. So it is comma delimited. Yes, it has the first column header row in the first row. That's fine. So if you want to change the data types, I recommend you can do it here, so you don't have to use the data conversion or a derived column transformation to change it. So maybe I can leave this one, the video is getting long, so I'm going to leave this one as it is. All right, so go to preview, hit OK. Now retain null values. If you're getting the blank values and you want to convert them to the null, you can select that one, hit OK. All right, so we are loading this information to the destination, the table called customer table. So we can use OLEDB destination Okay, double click here, go create a new connection, provide the SQL Server instance name, and then provide the database name where your table is, test. All right, okay, fine. So here we are loading the data to the customer table. Map the columns. So first name, last name will be going to the last name, and that's it. All right. So we have configured the customer, or we have at least done the configuration for the customer table, but we haven't changed the connection string yet. So that's fine. So let's go to the employee table right now, and then do the same thing. Read the data from the source by using flat file source. Now it took the connection manager automatically. I recommend go back and change this one. You might want to change the name of this one to the connection underscore customer, so you would not confuse yourself. And here what we need to do, we need to bring a new one. So we are going to, let's change this one here. We can call it connection underscore employee. All right, and browse to the new file, employee information. That's what we want to load, right? It has the column names in the first row, that's fine, and leave the rest of that as it is. Go to columns, go to advanced, change the data types if you want, preview it, and that's it. Okay, so go to columns, just take a look on the columns. I have a lot of videos on how to load the files, in from different formats, tab, delimited, and pipe and whatnot, so you can see that. And if you have problem here, I'm gonna move fast. So let's load the data to the SQL Server table by using OLEDB destination here. Okay, so now let's create a new. We have the connection already actually, because our both of the tables are existing in the same database, so we don't need to do anything, and we just need to select the employee table. Okay, so we want to keep it empty, table lock, check constraint, everything, leave this one as it is, doesn't really matter at the moment. So we have first name, and we have employee last name. That's what we are mapping from source to the destination. All right. Okay, right now we see the warning. It really doesn't matter because the phone number is read as a string 50, and in the destination it is a string 10. I told you guys if you want to change it, you can, in the flat file source, and avoid these warnings. So to do this real quick, if you want to go back ever and say, okay, I want to change it, and remove these warnings, you can always go to advanced and phone number, and here it is 50, so make it 10. So if you do this one, what you need to do, you have to come back and refresh your source, and that's where it's gonna take the changes. All right, okay, so we have made the connections to the files, but those files are the static files, and they are not changing with the file name what we are reading by using for each loop. So now next step is we go to the connection managers of these flat files and make change. So we're gonna go to the connection manager of customer properties, go to expressions, and now we need to get the connection string property and replace that one with the folder path, plus we have to pass the file name. That will make it the complete connection string. Right now is we have put the value here, that's why it's shown, but this will be overwritten when our SSIS package will run. All right, okay, so that's it. We do the same thing to the employee. Go here, and now what we need to do here, go to the connection string and then write the same expression. I could have copied it and pasted here. There is no change in that expressions. So, and now I need to provide the file name here. Okay, so once these connection managers are going to use our variable, we are all good to go. So let's run the SSIS package and see if the data will be loaded to our tables. So we have table customer. Let's select some data. and truncate this table, just in case this was there from last demo. Truncate table, truncate table. I'm going to copy the other one as well. So I'm truncating the both tables and making sure there is no data. Okay, so select. So if we run this select statements right now, there shouldn't be any data in these tables here. Okay. All right. So let's run SSIS package and see if the data is loaded to these tables. Okay. The package is looping through the files and then redirecting them according to the part of the file name. So now we go back and check our data. All right. So this one has loaded 3 files in the customer table, and the data from the employee should be in this table. So we see that the data is there. Okay. So what's my recommendation? If you have let's say 5-10 different type of file, this could be best solution. You can do it and run it. It is going to loop through and redirect according to the file name and load it. But if you have hundreds of them, it's not a great idea, and it will take you forever to write the SSIS package, write expressions, evaluate them and everything. So you might want to use the scripting in those cases. Thanks very much for watching this video, and see you guys next time.